You are watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftatacademy.com. www.netsoftatacademy.com.
Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will dive into setting up your Azure Virtual Desktop environment step by step. From prerequisites to create host pools and session host, I'll guide you through the basics so that you can get started with AVD as quickly as possible and also securely. So let's get started. Now, before we jump in, here are a few prerequisites you need. Well, the first thing you need is the active Azure subscription. So make sure that your subscription is up and running. The second thing you need is Entra ID, or an Active Directory domain services if you're using your AVD with on-premises. You're integrating both. Then you also need proper permission in Azure. So make sure you at least have the contributor access to create resources. So if you have all these prerequisites set, you can move ahead. Let's also quickly review the key architectural element in this AVD environment. First is the resource group. We will create a resource group in which we will keep all our AVD infrastructure, or all the resources. Then we need to create networks. Here we will create virtual networks and subnets in which our session host, that is the virtual machine, will live in. Then we need to create some compute. Compute simply means the virtual machines which will actually run our application or the desktop environment to which your user will connect. Then we will create host pools. Well, host pool is just a collection of all the session host VMs that your user will connect to. Then we will create an application group. The good thing is that AVD always create a default application group for you in which you have one application, that is your session desktop. This application is actually connecting your VM with your user. It provides the video stream which the user see and interact with. Then we also need to create workspace. Workspace is just a logical boundary in which you put your application groups, and then you assign it to the user. So all these components will be created. Don't worry, I will show you how to create all of this. When you create a host pool, you will see that there are so many options you can tweak. But there are two major types of host pool which you have to select. That is the most important selection, I will say. That is personal desktop or pooled desktop. When you select a personal desktop, that means you want every user to get one session at a time. Means one machine for one session, one-to-one connection. When you select pooled desktop, that means now you want multiple users to share a single host, I will say VM or machine. Or in simple words, one machine to many connection at the same time. Personal means one-to-one connection. Pooled means one-to-many. So when your host pool is ready, next up are your session hosts. You can deploy one session host if you want, or multiple at the same time. Well, now the session host is the actual virtual machine running Windows that your employees or users connect to. Here you select the VM size, that is how much CPU you want, means how many cores you want, how much RAM you want. So based on your size, your machine will perform. Now, what size you will select depends on your use case or what your organization want. The next major selection is the image. Well, here you usually select Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise. But according to your host pool type, your image will also change. If you have selected a personal host pool, that is one-to-one connection, in this case, you will select a simple Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise ISO. But when you select multi-session or pooled host pool, In that case, you have to select Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise multi-session image. So the image will be changed. Here you will use multi-session image. Now, remember, if you already have some multi-session VMs running, and then you want to create a host pool for that, in that case, you have to remember multi-session only goes to pooled host pool. Single session goes to personal host pool. Now, when your host pool is ready, and there are some session hosts inside that host pool, and they're all running and they're healthy, the next thing you will see is that there will be a default application group created for you by AVD. In this default application group, there is one application that is called Session Desktop. It will always be there. Now, your users need to connect with this application. So for that, the users need permission on this application. So here, you assign users or group of users from your Entra ID environment to this application group. And you decide who will access these desktops or application inside it. Well, here, a proper role assignment is super critical. If you mess up here, you might end up giving permission to an unwanted person. So you have to make sure the right permission goes to the right person. All right, so let me quickly show you how AVD environment looks like. And also, I will help you to create your own simple AVD sandbox. I will go step by step, so you can actually take notes or follow along. In the end, you will also have a simple AVD environment in which you can practice your use cases. Now, remember, the architecture I created is just a simple sandbox. Now, in the real world, you can have various type of architecture still using AVD environment. So here are some quick tips to keep your environment more manageable. So remember to keep your infrastructure scalable by planning the host pool size properly. And also, make sure that your VM specs or VM size is also planned carefully so that you're not paying too much money and you're not even utilizing that VM's resources or power. Also, use resource groups and tags to organize your environment for, let's say, different departments or different use cases. Plus, please follow the security best practices for network setup or for your storage setup. Make sure to isolate your environment from your live or deployed environment. If you do all this, I'm sure that you can practice AVD in a safe and secure environment without impacting any live system or critical infrastructure. All right, now let's create some backend infrastructure for our AVD deployment. So the first thing you need is a resource group, because here you will deploy your virtual machines and virtual networks. Those virtual machines will become the session host for your AVD. And those machines will also run your application which you will deploy. So first thing, let's create a demo resource group. Create. Done. Next, we need a virtual network infrastructure. So let's create a simple virtual network. I will use class C because we will only deploy 1 or 2 machines. So demo, I will call it demo vnet 01. Click next, next. Even class A is fine. I will change the subnet name at least. Demo subnet. And done. Now what else we need for AVD? Well, we have our network ready, we have our resource group. Now we can actually go ahead and create our host pool. But before we create a host pool, we need users as well. So let me quickly create a simple test group and a test user in it.
So if I go to my users and type my name, okay, so here, remember, RIVANITA02, this user will be used as the test user. All right, now we'll go to our AVD and create a host pool. Now, when you will create a host pool, you have two options. Either you will go with pooled one or you go with a personal one. First, you will select your correct subscription, then resource group. Give this pool a name. So I will call it pool host pool so that you remember this one is for the pooled one, a pooled scenario. I will deploy it in Canada Central. Now, we are not validating our environment, but if you just want to test your environment without actually pushing anything in production, you can say yes. Now, preferred app group type. The first will always be desktop because even a remote application, in order to run, needs a desktop. So in our environment, we don't even have a single desktop ready yet. So we'll go with desktop. Now, host pool type, pooled. Create a session host configuration, no need for that. Load balancing algorithm, I will go with depth first. And maximum session, I will say 2 users can use this machine. Next is your session host. You don't have to create a session host right away. Maybe you want to create a host pool, and in future, you want to register already existing VMs with it. In that case, I will just say no. No workspace required, management, nothing, tags, no need, review and create. So the objective of this video was to tell you how to create a perfect host pool, which can be used in the future, and you can populate it at any time you want. So my host pool is ready. Now let's create one more host pool for a personal scenario. Select your subscription, then your resource group, name it personal HP host pool. I'm deploying it in Canada Central. Desktop, yes, and host pool type will be personal this time. Assignment, I'll go with direct. See, automatic simply means that whosoever comes first will get assigned to the first available machine, and yeah, that person can use that machine. Direct means you as the administrator will register a machine with the user. So I will say direct because there is one more extra step involved in it. Okay, I'm not assigning multiple desktop to a single user. In fact, I will only deploy one machine in this one. Next, no need for session host, no need for workspace at this point. All right, so both host pools are deployed, as you can see. Now, when you click on any host pool, you will see that right now there are no machines in it. That's okay. You can always put machines here. And over here, you can see which machines are healthy or not. So if it is not healthy, it will show up here, can't connect. If it is healthy, it will show up here. Now, if the machine exists already and you want to register it with this host pool, well, in that case, you will use this registration key. And when you create a host pool, remember, a default application group is always created, DAG, default application group. Inside this, there is only one application, that is Session Desktop. This is the application which actually shows you your desktop environment, the video stream of it. All right, so that's how easy it is to create your host pools. I know at this point you cannot use it because we just created one part of the infrastructure. But in the next video, we will create our session host inside these host pools.
All right, so that's your fundamental setup for Azure Virtual Desktop. In the next video, we will explore user experience and connecting to your virtual desktops. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe to this channel, and drop your question in the comment section. I will see you next time. Take care.
Thank you for watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftatacademy.com. www.netsoftatacademy.com.